Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. Hope everyone had a good Christmas and holiday. Getting ready for the new year now. Some people have work off, some people don't, unfortunately, but hopefully you're enjoying your week before January comes. I think January is going to be very eventful. It's set up for potentially a lot of volatility going into 2026. And we have potentially a big pullback that's going to emerge. And of course, every pullback could be the pin that pops the bubble. And that's going to be the big question is when we do get this pullback, is it intense and severe enough that there is no recovery, there is no more higher high? It kind of makes me sick to my stomach when I see people just keep saying the market's just going to keep going higher. And they're just having people pile in without any regard to the consequences. And it's a really sad thing to see people being so irresponsible, telling people to just buy, and not being careful and cautious, and giving people the false sense of, security. The market always goes up. Yes, the market may trend on a higher time frame up higher, of course, but tell that to someone who will lose 85% of their money. Oh, that's okay. Just market will keep going up. Okay, let's take a look at the market overall. Let's take a look at what we have going on tonight. This is like nothing. The futures might as well just be closed. It's really nothing to even think about here. And still the primary view is a pullback, a double top type of pattern. Although I can look at this as a cup and handle, right? Charts can lie. Charts are in the eye of the beholder based on your own personal bias and based on your own, belief system. Some people see an inverse head cup and handle here, cup and handle. Other people see a double top. Well, I'll go with the double top crowd. Okay, my vote is double top. Can it keep going up a few more ticks? Sure. But to just keep telling people to pile into the market carefree, without any regard to the risk. Oh, don't worry, the market's always going up is reckless. It's irresponsible. And I'll never do that. So here we are. This is the pullback we're going to see likely in 2026 now, it looks like. And then we hope to see the market find the bottom. Where could this end if this was the correction here? Let's take a look here. Let me go to my live scene here. I think you guys can see the look. So here's our graph. As you can see, this is kind of the correction we're expecting. Again, do you see a double top or do you see a cup and handle? We're going to see this pullback. And here's the thing. If we get another low, another buyable dip, right, we would expect it to happen around 641, 626, somewhere around there. Okay, since it's a flat, they can go a little deeper. Where's our chart support, right? We'd always look for chart support. You don't really have any until maybe 600. So maybe it goes as deep as 600. So what this also could tell me is 2026 may not be so simple. We may get a move like this. We may bounce and then get another leg lower toward the back half of the year or summer. So 2026 may be the year of a correction, mini bear market, whatever you want to call it. And it may take a lot of patience. This would be like 2022 all over again, by the way. This would be the 2022. So this type of correction is possible, and we go back down to 600, chart support, and then everything's A-okay. Everything's okay. Everything's okay, and we go higher for one more high. And where would that get us? Where would that get us? Let's take a look here. Where would I get this? Yeah, I wasn't really showing charts until the end to this beginning, so you didn't miss anything. I was just talking. So This would extend us to 815, but it would be a wave 3 of 5, so we'd likely come to 900. And so then you would make a 4 and a 5, and so you'd probably top at 1,000. So this is the path to SPY 1000, and that would all happen probably will end right when Trump leaves office. The market tends to shift major cycles on new presidents, right? Biden came in, right? Bear market, 2022, right? Trump comes in, bull market. Trump leaves, bear market. And that's typically, you see that, and it's not 100%, but typically you see that. Obama comes in, bottom of the bear market, new bull market. Bush, bear market, sideways, basically sideways. Clinton, bull market. So the market tends to like to go with, trade these 4-year cycles with, and tends to use that. So that would actually line up perfectly. So this is probably what we're going to get. And so this is going to take patience. And if you're patient, you'll have a good opportunity to buy the market again. If you're impatient and you have to trade every day out of boredom, out of just, habit, maybe tough. Maybe tough going. So that's kind of the overview on the market for everyone. Just kind of, just want to hear where I think things are going. So something like this is probably the path I'm thinking right now. Something like this with a double correction, or we just crash here and then we finish a little earlier in 26. The correction. This would prolong the pain in 26. This would get it over with in Q1. Okay, this would get this over with in Q1. Now, what else could go wrong? Well, if the grand super cycle's over, we'd come back to this box. We'd probably rally somewhere around here. Our first warning sign, we'd probably pierce through it. That'd probably be our first sign something's wrong, something isn't functioning quite right. And then everyone will buy the dip aggressively without regard to risk. You'll hear everyone online throwing out all these, buy. And then you'll have a 1987 style event. And the market will go from here pretty much to the April lows. I'm thinking 1, maybe 2 sessions. Probably 1 session if the grand super cycle's over. And then we would break these lows. And then people would know this is something way different than they've ever seen. So that's how the grand super cycle ends, guys. A quick break of the April lows in early 26. Once that happens, there is no bounce. There will be rallies, of course. There would be rallies, but we would need a first wave down. And then we would have to navigate that. So anyone who's, again, subscribed, follows me, will be able to navigate that. We'll be okay. People that aren't, there'll be a lot of confusion. They won't know what's going on. All right, but right now the primary view is a pullback. Yes, can we go a few points higher? Sure, who cares? Right? I'm always looking at the bigger picture. All right, we look across the market. Bitcoin is obviously in this connector, very erratic pattern, looking more like a triangle now. And perhaps if that's the case, we'll see it finish tonight on our live stream and start to see the sell-off, if that's the case. Everyone's focused on silver, right? Where's silver? Maybe one more high. Silver, I posted, if it follows the 1970 pattern, it would top at 82.83, and sure enough, that's where we got rejected. So that's the analog. If this follows the analog, we would top here first. So maybe we get a 5 and we make just a marginal new high. And then that's the top for a few years. Not a few months, a few weeks, years. A correction for years, so people will forget about it for a while. Years. Probably will come back to life when Trump leaves office and the new president comes in to probably a massive commodity super cycle like being born. And they'll have to deal with the debt bomb and all the other problems that will go with this. So that's kind of the cycle. So silver cycle's coming to an end soon. Okay, it's pretty clear to me it's coming to an end. If it doesn't, for some reason, we're just going to finish the whole major cycle in one go at it, which can do. I mean, the markets can do anything. Then you're setting yourself up for something much worse. Of course, the grand super cycle crash, but maybe you won't get that sideways bear market after all. Maybe the Great Depression Part 2 crowd is going to be right after all. So I don't think that's my primary view. It's a top and then with a multi-year pull, but multi-year choppy correction, basically trading within this range of where we top here, back down to 52, maybe somewhere around there for a while. And if you're patient enough, you can just try to pick it off down here. You start to reaccumulate down in this area generally, okay, as time goes on. Because then the real move comes in wave 3. You think this is nothing. Wait till wave 3 comes and wave 5. But silver, as you know, moves in wave 5 more than 3 even. So this is just an appetizer for what's coming. This is also telling you the market has already decided its fate. We were wondering, are we going to get this inflationary future in front of us? You know, hyperinflationary, maybe even, dare I say that word. Silver's telling you that is now, the market has made its decision. With silver breaking out, the cycle has now been born. The metal cycle is born, is now born. And we said that when we broke the all-time highs. We're in a whole new trading, era now. It's very different. Just like when the 1970s started, very different. We're in a new era. This gave birth to a whole new era of trading, and traders will have to get used to that. And it's going to probably play out for many years. Now, the metal cycle is born. The liquidity is sloshing around the system. The central bankers have chosen to print over austerity, and same thing with hawkishness, and then governments have chosen, not to do austerity. So the market is saying, okay, why not buy gold and silver and hard assets? It makes sense. And the market's done that. Now these cycles are incomplete, and that means they're going to complete before we can peak again and get a deflationary crash. And that's going to take time, years, many years, and that's going to lead to a metals cycle that I think is going to surprise people how high these go in the end. If we got in a time machine 10 years from now, I think silver will be, well within, $300-400. Gold approaching $10,000. Oil will be near $200. That's the future. And it will be miserable. It will be a misery index too. They'll invent a new misery index. And it's because the chickens have come home to roost. The money printed. And then they'll be forced to raise rates. Just like they were eventually in the 70s with Volcker. Someone will come in and crush it, and then that will be that. We've seen this play out. We've seen it play out. We know what's going to happen. So use these dips, these crashes in the metals in the next year or two as they pull back as opportunities to reload. Energy is another opportunity to load up if they do the rug pull, because this will probably be the last time you ever get to buy energy this cheap, probably in your life. Okay. Let's go to you guys' questions. I think I got enough people on the live stream. We can go to your questions. We can start with MSOS. I know that's always a good question. Always get good. I get this asked a lot for me. MSOS. Now, we're done 3 waves. The cycle's over with this bounce. The cycle's over. So you either believe 2 is done or you're going to do a double. I think we'll do a double, because we truncated Y, we never filled the gap, and we know there's a market sell-off coming. So I think I would anticipate another leg lower, but I can't guarantee it. So this is a tough situation to be in if you don't have a position, because you could buy it here and have a stop at 432, but that would take you deep if you're wrong. But if you're right, you get the upside. But I think this is the right move. There's really no way to know. I think it does go higher in the short term. I wouldn't be surprised to see it get to 543 in X in a 3-wave bounce here, and then it should fail. I think it's going to fail. Okay. Personally, I wouldn't buy it here. I would wait for a double correction, a clear 3-wave. We never got that here. It truncated. So I would wait. And if that means missing the move, and missing the move. Now, if you were following me a long time ago, as we all know, many of our members and elite members, we bought it. Where did we buy it at, right? Remember? All the way back down here at 214. So this is why I buy in it early, and we tend to buy early on my groups. You know, my followers buy early. So if you bought it at 214 on the breakout when we saw this leg end, or here, you should just do nothing and just hold. Right? You should have took some profit by now, but I would just hold. Okay. But if you didn't do that, well, now you got to guess. And it's kind of like, I think it's like 70% you're going to get a double correction. That's what I think. Something like this. Tilray would be the same thing. We'll be getting a relief rally soon, just like I have here in a three-wave move. Now, could that be the low? It could be. It very well could be. But for the same reasons I just talked about, you may not have the low in, and you do a double correction. And then you fill the gap, and you kind of land somewhere down here. I'd rather buy a clear 3 waves than buy randomly, right? You could buy it here. Now, if you're a believer in Tilray and you want to buy it here, you just want to put your stop at 694. If you're willing to take that kind of risk, then go for it, right? Because it's likely to make another swing higher. You have a higher high, clear 5 waves. The odds are in your favor, but you may have to wait a little bit, and you may have to watch your account drop a little. HUT here, we're watching it finish a 5th wave. We did have this buy on our live stream earlier. In fact, HUT, we seem to trade pretty well. We had buys here and here. We're trying to finish a 5th wave. Okay? Once that's finished, it'll have a major correction like all of them are. This one is leading for some reason, right? It's leading. Again, you know, the other ones aren't doing that well. But I believe it should pull back once this 5 is done. So you kind of have my view on it. Now, you only have 3 up. You haven't broke the high. So there's no guarantee for this last little bit. If you're just hoping for this last little bit, well, I mean, it may not happen. But if you bought this box, you should take some profit, put your stop at the low, and then I wouldn't worry about time in the market. Just let the market decide, because you may be surprised. It may extend. Zim also is pulling back here. As we can see, we had this buy in this box and then pulled back. Now extending that 5th wave. It should be finishing up this 5-wave move. That should pull back to 17. So I think there was a question here that was asked about do we see it at 17? And I think the answer, I would say, is yes. I can't guarantee it, of course, but I think it's likely we'll see 17. Okay, likely see it. And so hold on one second. I want to just look at your question. So if you thought you lost your super chats, you didn't. What happens is sometimes when YouTube changes every 24 hours, you can't see them anymore, but I can, and I capture them here. So I have them in 2 places. So it does. So your super chats are always good. It's just for some reason YouTube erases it. I don't know why it does that, but it does that. Okay, and it's just something we have to just accept that they do that. It's a glitch. I don't know what it is, but I do get them. And if for some reason I did miss it ever in the future, just DM me on X, and I'll post it. I'll post it online, and you can get it. I'll go back and do it. Zim overall 1 2 1 2 1 2. Okay, very interesting chart because it shows a lot of upside, a lot of shipping going on in the next couple years. FedEx looks bullish too. UPS. A lot of shipping, a lot of stuff, a lot of commerce moving around. I don't know why, but we'll know, I guess, in another year or 2 why. But I think this is the count that we're going with, and we'll just kind of trade that. So something like this, and then we would see probably the meat of the move. This ORLY stock is kind of O'Reilly. Okay. O'Reilly, I looked at this. I'm calling it in a 1-2-1-2. Believe it or not, we haven't seen the best of it. Why do we say that? Because the wave 3 peak, you see this, is way back here. Usually wave 3 has the peak. You haven't seen it. So we haven't seen the wave 3. Now, could this be a wave 5? Could that be 3 and 4 and this whole thing is a wave 5? If that's the case, we'd likely come all the way back down to about $9. That would be like a great, guys, that would be like Great Depression Part 2. Now, I can show you that chart, but that's not realistic. What is that, a 5% chance? Or it's a collapse of the company, right? They just totally crap the bed and their company collapses. Can that chart happen? Can I label it that way? Sure, but it doesn't make sense. So I label it the way it makes sense. And this is what makes sense to me. So it looks like we have a 3-wave move. We peaked. We have made a major peak, though. We are correct in this whole leg, okay? Now, we have a 3-wave move. The first area is at 83. Should produce a bounce. Could it find a low? Maybe. But it should produce a bounce at least. And then it could double correct. Because there's a lot of space, right? There's a lot of space here. So my first target would be here. And if it's going to double correct, right, it's going to have to stay above this peak here. So if you look at the RSI on the monthly view, I can just draw a trend line. You see we're about to break it. Once we break that, we're in a bear. This is going into a bear market. It's going to correct that whole leg. It's going to a monthly cycle decline. We want it to stay above that leg here, or you will be in a wave 5. Then it is going to $10. But if it's a monthly cycle decline, like I'm telling you, it's likely to bounce and go lower. So just expect that. Okay, but it should bounce here. It should bounce here. Okay, it should bounce. So would I buy it here? Sure, I would give it a try and buy it, and then let the market decide. QXO, it's kind of a very speculative stock. We only have 3 up, as we see here. And there's no guarantee for the 5. Although if we were going to get a 5, this was the area to buy it. It seemed to be the case. We're probably in a wave 4 triangle, or possibly the wave 4 is done. And now you need to take the high out. If you can't take this high out, if we just melt down, well then it's a corrective structure, and it's going to break. It's going to come back and break $10, and it's just going to go into the abyss, right? Go to zero, because this whole structure would break. Right? It's already broken, by the way. This is already very bearish, but you're just playing for, hey, maybe they've changed something on August 24. Maybe something's different. So if you can make that 5 waves, that would be good. And then you could, maybe have something going, right? And something can get started. And then you can come out of this. If you can't make the 5 waves, well, then it's just corrective. And you're going to go much lower. The warning sign would be a break below 1548. So, I'm optimistic. I hope it works out. I don't know anything about this company, but that's all I can say on it. This Seaboard Corporation had a really tricky structure. I had to take a lot of time to look at this. I'm going with discount. I am going with an extended 5th wave. It does look like some kind of flat connector, and we come back down to 1784. Why do I think that? Because you see, you peaked here. This was kind of your 3. You faded, but the RSI has really pulled back very deep. It looks like you are correct. Whatever this is, you are correct in the whole grand super cycle. This bounce, while impressive, to me, if we're correct in the whole grand super cycle, it didn't go low enough. Because normally, 8 times out of 10, we lose the 5th wave. So you need to go deeper. I think you need to go deeper. So I do think, and this was a sharp turn lower off this peak. So I would say as long as you're below 48.29, I would expect more downside. If you can come back and take this high out, then maybe we can say 2 is done. And if 2 is done, then maybe you have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you may go, well, it's 5 up. It should be an impulse. We're trending with the market, right? Why am I late? Because we're in a flat connector and the C leg has to be in 5 waves. So that's what makes this really tough chart. It's a really tough chart because you could be tricked into thinking you're off to the races here, but I don't think you are. I don't think it went deep enough. But you can do what's best for you on this. And either way, you should get a pullback. Okay? So if it's 5 and this is the low, we should pull back to 29.88. If it's not the low, well, you're going to pull back here. The only other way you get going is this was a 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And I don't think that's likely. So I think something like this. BTBT, just kind of looking here. Again, fortunately, very bearish chart at the moment. It had a hope. There was some hope, and now it's let us down with this connector. And we have a 1, 2, 1, 2. So we need again, crypto, guys, could be in a dip, rip, crash. Okay, that's the pattern. So this is showing you a dip, a rip, and a crash. I keep seeing this chart all over crypto. A dip and a rip and a crash. I'm not seeing a crash. I'm not seeing, oh, it's time for all-time high. I see a lot of charts that show dip and a rip and a crash. So could this dip be done here? Maybe. I don't think so. I think it's got the finish like I think crypto and Bitcoin have to finish and hit below 80,000. So I think it's got something like that. And then it's going to trap a bunch of people, and then it's going to really crash and melt down. MicroStrategy, kind of the same chart. Now, MicroStrategy is a very interesting chart. So we come up in 5, we come down in an A, we make a triple, real confusing, but it's a triple for B. And then we're coming down in 5 waves. If I count 5 waves, if I'm trading the count, again, MicroStrategy, it's the same thing. A dip, it's a dip, and then a rip. There's no crash. MicroStrategy, oh, it's going to crash and go to 0. Maybe not yet. So again, it shows a dip, and then a rip, and then a crash. Right? And maybe you're going to have a left shoulder, a head, and you're going to form this right shoulder here. And then you're going to crash. And it's going to break. The whole pattern will break, and MicroStrategy goes bye-bye. And that's the end of that experiment. So I think that's my view right now. Now, if it can rip and just kind of pull back, there's a possibility for that, right? And that's what all crypto holders hope for. Now, if not, it's going to come later, or it's just going to go bankrupt. It's going to not survive. So my view on it right now is a dip and a rip. Okay. There's a possibility that we have a 1, 2, 1, 2. If it's a 1, 2, 1, 2, there is no dip and rip. It's just crash. At that point, it's crash. Crypto's crash. Bitcoin goes into the, under 50,000, goes to 48,000, and this would just crash. And I don't know where it would end. It may go to 0. I don't know where it would go because you're running out of room. You can't extend it. Like if I try to extend another wave 3, there's no more space on the chart. It goes negative. It goes bankrupt, out of business. So you basically are saying it's going to do this dip, rip, and then maybe gives it some room to make one more low to survive, or you're essentially saying it's going to zero. And I'm not going to say that. I think this is to count. Though. But hey, it's more downside. Where do I think it will find this support? Right about here, 119. I bet this is where it finds support. Right in it. Why would it not? I mean, this is pretty good support here. It even goes back to the prior all-time high. I mean, it'll take a lot to get through this support, and it's just not likely. So this is the chart on MicroStrategy. Dip, rip, and then I do think Bitcoin crash. I think you get this crash. So dip, rip, crash. Okay. So dip rep crash on MicroStrategy. So hey, if you have to buy this for some reason, buy it here. And this would be just trading 101. You're just buying it at support. And honestly, the Elliott waves also line up. So you have two systems lining up. But just know that once divergence is erased, you see this? If this erases, then this support won't hold. It will actually go through it. So we're hoping this is a fifth wave. That's what you're hoping for. We'll know soon. Bloom Energy made a lower low here, so it can be shorted now. Likely to hit the 47, 40 bucks, somewhere in this area. May come up into the box. You could short that. But it's pretty straightforward. Bloom Energy is one we've been tracking. Had a massive pump, massive run. It's over. And we pretty much saw the count end on our elite group. Been watching it. Knew this was likely suckers rally. It was. Now, B could do the same thing. Be more and more, more suckers getting caught up in this thing, trading it when they shouldn't be. But we want to wait. This is probably where it's going. Okay. I can't rule out though a pop up to this area, but that box would be a short opportunity. This COTY, the question is it near a bottom? Is COTY near a bottom? I believe it is very close. I mean, I could be like one more swing down, but you're never going to get a perfect entry. I mean, so again, at some point, if you believe in it, now you will be buying, by the way, just the two wave. If you want to buy that, one day you'll wake up and yes, this is coming. This isn't C. So I don't recommend buying it, but since your question was, is it a low? Yeah, I think that's the low, but it's only for two, and then you're going to get even further downside because we haven't got the separation from B yet, and you need to get that separation. It hasn't gone deep enough, so this will just be a counter trend. Oxy had a 5-wave move off of its major low, and it's correcting. It hit a box, and we came out of it in 5 waves, and now you're pulling back. And I tried to look at this. It looks like you need a little bit more downside. The most important thing is to hold the April low. If you break the April low, it's game over for the chart. Because basically, if we go to the monthly chart here, the way I look at it is basically you have 1, 2, 3 down, and you have a bounce. That's either a connector for that whole move, and that'll put you all the way back down here. $8, I'll put you all the way back down here. If it's not a connector, it may be just a connector for this leg, but it's still just as bad because look how long the leg is. So even if it's just this leg, right, that gets you down to 12. So it's $12 or $8. So my point is, it's do or die. April lows, do or die. Okay? So it's got to hold the April lows. If it can't hold the April lows, it's going to go into a bear market. Now, they have changed their business. I think they're selling off their materials business. So their corporate structure's changing. And sometimes when companies do that, investors don't like that. And they punish it by a big sell-off. And so it's not kind of the same. So it's almost like comparing apples to oranges. I don't know when that spin-off's supposed to happen. I believe they announced the spin-off. And I don't know when that date is, but you basically the chart's going to get shaken up a little. But this is the chart for now. So if it can hold these lows, good. It may do it. If it does, great. This GUR stock it's kind of was a popular one. We made 5 waves up. Of course, it's always been a go to 0, but let's just assume it's in a new bull market. We have 5 up. We have this triangle here. And an A, B, so we need C. So you're in this kind of like wave 3 now. So we look for it to just kind of finish and push lower. If you just look at the wave, you think about it, probably somewhere down here, $5, $6, probably where it's going. Again, you can look at chart support, 519, right around here, maybe 524. That's probably where it's headed. And then it needs to be defended there. Bulls need to come in, and then it could create another. Because it's 5, you would think you would get another leg higher. Now, sometimes we get corrective bounces in 5 and a flat and an A, B, C. This is pretty extreme. I'm trying to think if I could see a corrective bounce. It doesn't look like that. Looks like 5 waves down here. So I think you may get something like this. Okay. And then after that, it could go to 0 again, for all we know. This supports the view the AI sector still has some juice left in it after the 26 is going to be a tough year for the AI stocks, but the last couple years will be good to AMD and NVIDIA and all those plays. One more time, one more go at it. That's what this chart, that's what these kind of imply. Because if the grand super cycle's over, this ain't happening, right? This chart, well, this is wrong. But it will just go bang out of business, right? Because if the grand super cycle's over, the AI trade's done for. So I would expect more selling. It's going to have to defend this prior low back here, and hopefully it can hold up for you. Clorox, looking at that, made its own grand super cycle peak here. Have to go with a big extended 5th wave. Again, staring at it for quite a while. It's the only count that makes sense to me. And typically when you lose the whole 5, so the target makes perfect sense. So everything lines up perfect. And then you look, and again, not even using Elliott waves. Just look at this top. That just broke. You just broke the neckline. You just breached it. Again, I mean, I don't chart pattern trade, but this is a textbook head and shoulders breakdown. I think you're going to back test that and then fail one more time. So if you look at this leg, you have big 3 waves. You're going to need another big 3 waves on the Y. So I do think it's going to finish soon. I don't know how deep this is going to go. I'm just kind of making a guess here, somewhere around here maybe. We could look at chart support. Don't really have any till 67. It could go down that far. And then you're going to rally hard. And I bet it's going to come back up to here, get rejected, and go into our box. And that'll be the low. So I think it's something like this. Something like this, and we have a lower low. We have a connector. You have a lower low. It's very bearish. And so if this is your connector, this is our system. This is the system. And I know it's not what people want to hear, but it's just kind of what I'm seeing in the chart. And so why I don't really cover it. Because it's going to need more time to play it out. MOBX, just kind of looking at this chart, it's still looking at WXY, WXY, WXY. So now you're in this Y wave, and that's a pretty big bounce right there. So that's probably your first W there. So you probably have this W here, and you have Y. So you now, again, you're breaking down. And again, it either goes to 0 or it finds a low and has a huge rally. Because when this is done, you'll be correct in the whole thing. So it'd have a huge rally. But you'll have to trade the count. There's no way to guess what the level is. You're just going to have to trade the count. You're going to have to sit there. So you look at this wave here. You see I had big 3 waves. You're going to need another 3 waves in this Y. You're going to need, so you don't even have, you have 1 starting. So you're going to need to see a 3-wave move, right? You're going to need to see something like this. Then you know it's kind of close to the end. Okay, I think I got through everybody's stocks there. Let me see if anything new came in. And then I'll go through your comments like I normally do. UNG, I normally don't mess with natural gas because my system does not work well. In fact, I might as well just do the opposite. Natural gas is probably the one ticker that does not work well. Here we had this ABC structure. You're 5 waves up, 3 waves down, and then you took it out. You have a higher high. It's actually bullish now. So God knows. Let me see if I can try to figure this out. I haven't looked at natural gas in a while. Like I said, I don't personally trade it. So 5 up, 5 down, some kind of connector here. So we'll just label what we have in front of us then. W, X, Y. So this would be another leg higher. So it's probably going higher, right? It's probably got more, probably got another leg higher that needs to take place. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's probably something like this. That's what I'm thinking. So UNG should follow that path. So it should be very similar. That gets you to like $7. So we can go to UNG and take a look at it. So this was our last update on UNG. And looking at the chart we just saw, now what may happen, what's interesting is look at how different this chart is. See, I don't know what this instrument measures compared to the natural gas futures, but maybe when it runs to 7, you get this too. Maybe it comes back up to like 16 here, fills that gap. So maybe it's something like that. I wouldn't fall in love with it. The reason why I still don't, just regardless of the count and chart, the primary view on oil is lower, and natural gas always follows oil. So, but the short-term view on oil is higher for at least another swing. So this may be how natural gas can get to that $7, and then they rug pull energy. You get the massive rug pull. So that's kind of the idea. So maybe that's the dynamic. And that makes sense to me. If this just melts down from here, well, I don't know how natural gas goes to 7, but I mean, I guess it could, but I don't, unless it's like a super cold, something really cold, and gets investors to buy it because it's like a big polar vortex or something, and then they all rush in to buy natural gas. But this is, if this chart plays out, yeah, maybe natural gas can pump here and finish this cycle. Right, finish this cycle, and then when that's finished that cycle, then the lower low will come back into play, and we can get that leg lower, this final leg, and then it could be ready for the energy super cycle in the future, where yeah, we hit targets all the way up here. And so lock in your natural gas rates. If natural gas does a double and oil goes down to below $40, you'd be locking in those natural gas rates. Yeah, I don't even know where it would go. Maybe like $1. It would be pretty damn cheap. Okay, that's the best case scenario. And then once that's done, then it's off to the races. And then our forecast on oil is a low here, maybe hitting $30.42, and then off to the races. Why do we think that? Because you have 1, 2, 3 W, 1, 2, 3 X, 1, 2, and we need 3. So you're missing a swing. It's going to happen. I know no one wants to hear it. The general public hates this message. And yeah, they all think that, and you will. And everyone here will be begging for NEO and EVs, and there won't be enough to go around. But the good thing is, once this happens, the deflationary crash, the Great Depression too, will probably emerge, because you'll get something like that. But the bad news is you have to live through this cycle, this energy super cycle. And I know people don't want to hear this. I know this, and I get this. Every time I say it, I get dislikes. People unfollow me, and I get it. But I would be stupid to just tell you, everything's going to be, it's going to be $40 forever, and don't worry. I'm just telling you what I see in the chart. I mean, you can see it with your own eyes. I don't have to, convince you too hard, right? I mean, you see it. 3 waves. Where's the third wave? It's not there. You need it. It's missing. It's coming. This peak connects that peak and is likely to connect the next peak. That's what's going to happen. So if oil rug pulls, you better have that on your shopping list. You better have it on your shopping list. And that may be the best deal going around. Okay, so that's kind of it. And if it doesn't rug pull and we get start to hit escape velocity, so be it. It's too late. Okay, let's take a look at some of your other super chats that have come in. All right, that's a cool one. So Carvana. Carvana is an interesting one. We have a lot of history on my channel with Carvana. And we have a lot of history here. It goes all the way back. Yeah, can you believe it? I mean, I remember the day of the live stream I gave for this buy here. I mean, damn, it was a long time ago. It was way back here. We were sitting right here, and I was like, yeah, you know, maybe we could get to 306, but I was like, we should bottom. And I shoot myself for not buying it because I just didn't believe in the company. But sometimes you just have to buy the chart. And that's what happened to me. So it's a learning for me. I still don't believe in the company. I would never use them. I never would buy them, but I know people love them. And it's a generation that just loves these guys. And they'll pay whatever. And I just can't buy cars that I don't get to see. And I'm not going to pay to ship a car just to look at it. Like, it's not my thing. You know, we did have a buy way back here. Even 41, I thought that was too high. So now where are we? I mean, damn, let's take a look. So 1, 2 looks like, could that be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for another 1, 2? Let's take a look. Probably not. Probably not. So you do have this. See that peak? Peak RSI right there. I'll have to look at the monthly real quick. I mean, look at that RSI. I mean, people are just buying this. They're just wow. I guess they again, I don't follow this company, but they are just piling in. This is probably another 1, 2. This is probably another 1, 2. As crazy as it sounds. It's probably another 1, 2. All right, so it's we have to take it seriously. We can't laugh at this company anymore. So a 1, 2 here. All right, and then call that cycle. This would be a 1, 2 right here. Let's take a look at the structure. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just kind of taking another look at it. See, you took the peak out here. So this is a 3. So that's probably something like that. And that was probably a flat in 4. Or maybe 3 is here. And that was a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's your 3-way move. So I think regardless, I mean, we can get the subdivisions to work. Right? And then this. I mean, could that be 3 and 4? You see, you don't have that separation that you normally are used to seeing. Now, the RSI does indicate in this cycle it's a 3. So I'm going to label it as a 3. But as you can see, there's more upside to come. For the next peak. Looking at the Elliott wave structure. So something like that. You know, if I was just going to label it classic Elliott wave, I would just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we would call the whole thing over here. So let's just say, what if I did that? What if I did that? This is hidden bullish divergence. This monthly stochastic has bled down significantly, but the price has barely fallen. So people are buying it up like crazy. Yeah, I think this is the count. I have to go with it. I don't know. Again, I still don't understand why people love, like, I don't understand the stock, but in company, but it is what it is. It's the chart. And yeah, I mean, this was probably the buy of our decade, right? $3. It's probably the best buy that existed. And yeah, I think when this was happening, higher rates, I think people were so scared of higher interest rates, they thought it would just collapse their business model. But it didn't, because they underestimated how much people do love them. So, and people use them. And then, of course, rates stabilized and people just bought more expensive cars anyway. Okay, so that's kind of the chart. I think that's what we'll go with. Something like this for now. The higher time frame, you need to take this peak out for 5. That's why this could be a 1-2 as well. This could be a 1-2-1-2. Aren't they talking about lowering rates and all that? Maybe that's good for these guys. Lower rates. Imagine lower rates. You know? So this could be a 1-2 right here. Is there a dip buy opportunity? There was, right in this area. So there may have been here now. Just kind of looking at it. Yeah, it really needs to stay supported here. So I think that was the dip buy right there. And then you get 5, or again, it's a 1-2. All right. SMR. Fortunately, it's been melting down with the sector. Unfortunately, URA is not where we need to buy it yet. So this could have been, you could have been tricked if you just traded the count here, right? Because it looked like 5 down, but all it was the first wave of 5, right? And then now it's extending. So now it's going lower. So now you have to put up with a whole nother wave down. And the question is, will it erase divergence? And it could. So this could become a 1-2-1-2. So let's take a step back and look at the bigger picture. We have 5 waves up. Remember, we lose the wave 5. There's our wave 4. So we're probably heading right around for 942, 980, right in this area. I'll draw a line. It's a lot of chart support. You can see it. Again, I'll just draw through the cluster of the wicks. And there. So a lot of support right there. So it's a little bit higher. So it's like $11. So it's like around 11. So maybe not 9, maybe 11. So somewhere around there. And that will probably be right where the URA hits a buy area. We want to see divergence not erased on the shorter time frames. So this is okay. But if you erase divergence, well, then you've got a 1-2-1-2 and 1-2. So that's going to be pretty bad. That will take you through this level, right? Now, if you look at the chart, just kind of step back. Yeah, I mean, I like horizontal resistance better. I could draw kind of this line like that. But as you see, it didn't really help you. You're breaking through it. So maybe we could get like a right shoulder. It doesn't look like that's happening. So I'm not interested in buying it until the URA is in a buy area. And you're our elite member, so you know that. We're watching for that. SMCI, Super Micro. This one has a very tough chart to try to trade. And it kind of supports that dip and rip scenario and then crash. So I'm really sticking my neck out in the line by calling this kind of chart because it goes against my conventional wisdom. I want to just call that 2 in. But I think this is, when I looked at this before, this is the chart we have. So we're going to dip and then we're going to rip. So, right, dip and rip. So something like that. Now, this bounce may not get this high. So if you're like, oh my God, I'm going to get this and get rich. Again, I'm showing this. I think you bounce here, but I would be careful. Hope like it would be awesome to buy it at 20 and sell it at 80. I would be just so good, but I would at least you should get a bounce. Now, if it fails, it fails. Then it's over for these guys. But if you look at the structure, because of this three waves, you know, it doesn't seem like there would be no reason for me to show it crashing unless it was my personal bias. So that's what I try to take my own personal bias out. My personal bias would be to just call it done and say it's game over. It's done. But I think I don't think that's the case when I look at the whole thing, because we're not moving in an impulse here. This is corrective. Now, if this was 5 down and this was 5 down, then yeah, then I think 2 would be in. Okay. All right, we can take a look at a few more here. BTDR, Bitdeer, kind of the same thing, supporting just a little bit more downside, not a lot more, right? Yeah, so maybe one more leg lower. Again, a dip and a rip. So I think you have a dip. Now, the problem here is if you erase divergence or not. That's going to be the problem on the shorter time frame. I think for right now we'll just go with this count. I think a lot of the stocks we chart are in this kind of count right now. Crypto related. We just saw MicroStrategy, right? We see Coinbase. We see all these stocks, right? They've already crashed, right? They've already crashed. They're not crashing. They've already crashed. So they're due a bounce. They're due a bounce on the weekly time frame. So not a bounce that's going to last a day or two, like a bounce that's going to get people all bulled up again. Some of them may be incredible bounces. Some of them may not be. We could also still be in X, by the way. I don't want to mislead you. We may not be in Y. We could finish here and bounce and go lower like that again. Right? And maybe that's probably the right way to show it because that aligns with my Bitcoin forecast. So maybe it's something like this. Okay. But I do think a bounce is coming. And then Hive, probably the same kind of chart. So you see they all trade together. They're all the same chart in the end. They all have this. So you think you're buying something different, but you're really not. You're buying the same thing because they all trade together. The same thing in Hive. It looks like, again, let's take a look. There's your bounce here. So let me look at that a little closer. Yeah, probably some kind of A, B, C, and then your W. So you probably have some kind of W here, X, Y. So one more push lower, and then like I keep saying, a dip and a rip. Now after this, where does it go from here? Well, we should get a 3-wave bounce and a pretty nice one, right? Right, a pretty nice bounce. But then after that, who knows? So after this, it can either crash, like we talk about Bitcoin, and it makes one more low, or it goes out of business, or it does Bitcoin and crypto do the unthinkable, and that's that. So that's the path. I way too early to know which one of these it's going to take. I still think crypto and Bitcoin dip, rip, crash. Okay, I think that's what it's going to do, but if you don't get this, you're going to get that. So I think it's something like this, and then when this crash is over, then of course crypto finds its low, and then it comes out into the next 4-year cycle, and so on. Again, the time frame's irrelevant. I'm not drawing it to scale, you know what I mean? But you get the idea. This is kind of the path that I think you're going to see. So maybe it could come back up to, maybe up here. But it should bounce. Right, again, same thing. This needs a correction. They all do. Crypto's pretty beat down. Right? Pretty beat down. Okay, next Orbs, ORBS. All right, another one of these. It's just kind of crash, go to zero stock. We can look at it and see if there's anything we can get from it. So all we know is we're bearish off of that massive peak above. So you need to find a connector wave, and you have it right there. So there's your connector wave. So it's right here. So you could have found the low here, but you failed. So now you have a whole nother leg lower you have to sit through. Okay, so you gotta sit through a whole nother downtrend, down cycle. The problem is, let's look at the daily. We have to go to the higher time frame. If you look at this weekly cycle, we just broke down. So this has a lot more sell-in to go. So this is one of these you're just short at will. It's a short stock. It's a stock that you short any kind of three-wave bounce. So this was a massive opportunity to short. So you may get another one of those. Buy, absolutely, I wouldn't recommend it. I would only be entertaining short ideas. And it's in full-blown meltdown mode now. If someone's dumb enough to buy it and give you three waves, short it. That's all I can tell you. This has a lot more to go. Basically, that weekly cycle is going to have to come all the way down to oversold. The monthly, you can't even analyze the monthly cycle properly. It's likely going to fill this gap, right, and go beyond these lows. So that's what we're seeing. Once you broke this low, it was game over. You had no chance. So as you can see, you need to at least finish 5 waves down, and you're in the thick of 3 of 3 still. So you don't have any 4s and 5s yet. Okay, HYMC was one that they started pumping all over the internet. Of course, we were looking at this a long time ago on our channel, right? Because you guys asked me about it when it was down here. And of course, the wave 5 is just incredible, right? It just keeps going. Now, the question is it a 5 anymore? Probably not, right? Look at that. I mean, it's probably not a 5 anymore. This is what happens if you trade the count. This is a great example of if you trade the count, you get burned. How many people short it, that are Elliott Wave practitioners out there thinking they're a genius, and they just got their asses blown up, right? They just totally blown because you just cannot short something like this. You just can't. This is one of these ones that just keep extending. So I'm just kind of finishing the labels here, and we'll go look at it again here. So it's a 3 of 3. So you need 4s and 5s. So it should still grind higher, okay? Because the market doesn't top typically like this. So you should get some 4s and 5s, right? Now this 4 could take a while. Let's take a look here. That 2 took looks like about 6 months. So this 4 is going to take some time. Something like that. Okay, so the major run is about to end. Like most of the metals, the major run's about to end. You're going to go into a correction, and then perhaps you could get one more high. Now the other possibility is you get a 1-2 and a 1-2. Now a 4 would stay supported at 24, and you make a 5, right? And then you would have a huge pullback. But what could happen, and I wouldn't be surprised, and I'm trying to tell our lead members this, is you get another 1-2, but this, because it's a 2, it can go deep. You get something like that. And then it really moons. And you get more of like a crash in 2. I think you got to expect something like that. So you get a 1 2 1 2. Okay, so that's what I think most. I bet that's what's going to happen in most of the metals. You're not going to get this comfortable 4s and 5s. I think when this cycle ends, it's going to end like a dramatic pullback crash. That's going to take a while, still 4 to 5 months, but then it's a 2, and it's a 1 2 1 2. Okay. So something like that. And yeah, it just totally erased divergence. This is a great example of not shorting a wave 5. This is a great example of not shorting a wave 5, because if you did that, you shorted at the wrong possible moment. That's why we always say on our channel, we never trade the count. We always trade the 3 wave moves. Because if you trade the count, it can extend, and it can keep. And by the way, this could be another 1 too. I think it's a 4 because that's the way my metals forecast is lined up right now. But if it's not, well, then it's another 1 too. All right, TRMLF Oil Company, OTC. That's an interesting chart. You did break this high here. This is like, typically when you see this is usually like a W, an X, and a Y. This is usually a bearish continuation pattern that needs to resolve lower, or resolve in the direction of the trend, which is lower, usually. Okay. So we can try to look at this and see what we think of it. We didn't peak with any divergence, so it's moving in 3 waves, and we see that 3 and 3. So that's why it's likely to go lower, right? Because look at this W. It took, years and years to develop. Here you just made the first kind of, you're missing a swing down. So it's likely to go lower, right? And then come higher. So this kind of lines up with that rug pull in oil, right? We're going to get a rug pull in the energy market, and that's what this forecast lines up with. Now, what is this count? That's probably your 3 waves right there. And now you could have something like this, or something different, maybe. Let's see here. Now I think we would put that X there. Something like that. Let's take a look here. A, B, C, D, E, like that. So this is a triangle X. So it's like a triangle hidden within it, and you get Y. So the buy would be somewhere around 27.77, 21.61, somewhere in this area. And then you get this big move. Interesting chart. We'll keep an eye on that one. Okay, next is Visa. How's that one been doing? We used to get asked a lot about Visa, MasterCard, all these companies. Just Discover's gone now. Let me see here. Where is Visa at? There it is. V. One more high. So we had a box here. One more high. And that will be that. If the count's off. Count could be off, but that'll be the end of the grand super cycle on Visa. And you pull back. Right? So this would be a pretty nasty pullback. But it'll correct the whole thing. So that's the chart on Visa. I'll take another look at the RSI just to make sure. Let's go to the monthly. So we do have the RSI in the back end here. We do have it in the back end. You see how that's that third wave right here, and then we pulled back down and corrected that whole wave. So that RSI is very nice for this too, but this wave, right? Here you have 5 waves and you pulled back. So there's two counts. There's this count, right, that I'm showing. The other count is this one. And it moons. But it goes against the forecast. It would go against everything that, it would make no sense logically for me to show that and then show all the other charts I've been showing. So I don't show that. So that's why I don't consider that. So the only other count you're left with is this count. But the RSI is early, right? It is early. So maybe there's a path. Maybe, again, I'm just thinking out loud. So it's either going to do this and then correct the whole thing, or maybe it does this. And this doesn't make a new high. It fails right here. It fails, and we go deeper. And then we have like more of a 1-2, 1-2. We would know that if we can't make a new high and we start to drift lower and we come back and take out 318. If we take out 318, then we'll go with this count, a 1-2, 1-2. Okay, in the box would be at 299, 285. But so I think, you know, kind of thinking about it, I think I'm going to go with this as my primary view. I think that lines up with the RSI better, and it still makes sense. It still shows a bearish and then bullish path. So I think I'd rather go with this view. I think it could still be that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is just the classic Elliott wave label, but the RSI doesn't really support it, and I think this would be probably more accurate taking a closer look at it. So something like this. This is what I'm thinking. So I think this rally could fail. Now, if the rally takes the high out, then you're only left with 2 options. 1, 2, and then, like I said, 1, 2, and it's go time. And there's no way the indices are going to melt down if that VISA is going to moon like that. No way. By the way, if that happens, it'd be SPY 1000. Here we come. Or it's the one I had before, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's kind of it. So it has a couple possible paths. I think this would be the most likely one, but I think I would say bullish above. Well, as long as you're above this low, it's still bullish. There's some hidden bearish divergence here in the RSI. Not a lot, but enough. So we'll just see how this plays out. We'll keep an eye on that one. I think I want to keep an eye on that one too. All right, MSTR. I think we did that one already. MicroStrategy. So MicroStrategy has got a couple possible paths. It could have the dip and the rip and crash. Dip down to the support, mega support at 117. A pump, you know, maybe back to 253, 250, and then a crash, and either it goes out of existence or maybe survives it, who knows. Or crypto fools everyone, no crash. You get a pullback here, and then crypto goes into a bull market, the next leg higher. So that's the likely view. The other view, of course, is it's in a 1-2, 1-2, and that would be no dip, rip, crash. No dip, rip, crash. It'll be just crash. And that means Bitcoin's going down to 40, sub 50,000. And then, so that's why I'm like, oh, we should just buy it here. It would be great. But you could be buying, again, an extension, just like we saw the opposite with HYMC. This could be the reverse of HYMC. So we can't buy the count. So you just can't buy the count. You have to get more data. Okay, I hope that helps. Intel, let's take a look at Intel here. Intel is In the C leg, we have a higher high and another high. So we have a flat that finished. So it's likely in this count. I'm thinking something like this. And we have to go into this wave and just take a closer look at it. So it looks like 5 waves down though. So that's the problem. It can't be 5 waves down. So we may be in a bigger flat. A flat and a flat. So that may be the case. And it already failed. So my guess is let's go to the 4-hour. Just trying to look at this. Yeah, I think see a bottom with no divergence. So I think we have to call it something like a ABC. So it's going to come down in 3 waves. So you probably need one more wave down. So one more push lower, as long as you can keep divergence intact, and it's just moving in 3 waves, 3, 3, 3, in 3, 3, and 3. So one more push down. It should come out of this on the upside. At least another swing. So Rivian, let's see here. Rivian, what's their symbol? RVN. We haven't looked at that in a long time. Looks like we had this B. Probably put that back here. So we had this real erratic setup, but let's see where we are. It's been a while. So yeah, so that's fully pumped here. So we'd have to put this down here. So we have 5 down. See, this lower low is not good. I still think it can go higher. I still think it can go higher. I think it's going to do it. It's just like a typical flat. So it should go higher still. Right, it should go higher. Let me just kind of stare at it for a minute. But you know what? That's a triangle. So looking at it some more. Yeah, so we're still in this B wave. We're still in the B wave. So this box is probably still valid, but I'll take another look at it. So good luck trading this. And this would be in 3, and then in 3. Boom, and then your triangle. Boom, 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 boom. Out. You dump. And then you whipsaw back up. Now this C can go pretty high. So where is the opportunity? Where would you try the time to buy it? That's the worst case, 271. The best case would be 490. So this is like the best case. So basically, I would say 490 to 0, stop loss of 0. So right in this area. And then at some point, it fails altogether. So I don't know where that, again, C can just keep going and going and going. So, but I think this structure is the warning sign. It's likely to resolve lower. So that's what I'm thinking. Okay. That would have found sellers right here, right where it is in this area. So yeah, I think that's the move on Rivian. All right, next is EONR. EONR, let's take a look at that. How's that one doing? It's one of these penny stock ones. Looks like it's still trying to correct. So the minute we broke the low, it turned into a flat. So we're still in 2, but we're in a flat. So now you have to try to guess an impulse, and whenever that ends. So you have 5 waves down from here. So we can try to guess where the first wave ended. It's probably right here. So we can try to see if we can do this. 1, 2, 1, 2. Right? But it's going lower. But you see these waves overlap. That's not good. So it's probably going even lower. So again, people are buying the dip and they're not capitulating. So that's the problem you're facing. So likely it's going to go lower. This is likely another 1, 2. So it's probably about to have a meltdown, the real capitulation event. And it's likely to try to retest those lows. That's what it's going to do. It's going to try to retest those lows. If it breaks the lows, the structure is shot. So, again, it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good. If there's really once you broke that low and the flat, that's probably really was the clue. Now, what else could it be? If it's a flat, it could turn into, it can break this low and still end up, it just won't go, it won't be a bull, it would do something, something like 3 waves. It would have to do something like this. It would have to do something like this, and then something like this. And then it would rally. So that's another path if it breaks the low. So it couldn't even break the lows and still come around and moon in from here and up. So it's a very tough chart to trade. The direct setup's lost by breaking this low, but I mean we could still keep an eye on it. For now, we'll still keep an eye on it, and it could still, if it can finish this sequence, before it breaks the low, then it does have a chance to come out of this as a flat. But it looks like it's about to have some heavy selling, about to enter the picture here. Okay. Oh, looks like I got a few more here in the last second. So Tesla's going to go into a sideways to lower correction. So TSLL, I would recommend not trading it because it's just going to bleed premium. So Tesla's forecast is that. What TSL will do in this situation is just go lower. So again, I told all my people that follow me, 2026 is going to be the year of patience. So if you're trading this type of thing, you're going to have to be really patient. So let's take a look. The good news is you broke that high. The bad news is that's probably where you're headed before you go higher. So, I would expect it. I mean, can it meander around in here? It could. But honestly, I wouldn't even entertain trading it until Tesla is down here. Then I would go look at it. Right now, it would make no sense to think there's a big breakout coming in Tesla with the market backdrop the way it looks right now. It just doesn't make any sense to think that. So this is the count. So I'll just kind of draw it up. We'll just draw it up real quick. Something like this, like that. So I think that's kind of what you got in your future on TSLL. And then next one is APLD. I think I have that one. Yeah, Applied Digital. We have that one. I think we're looking for a 5. So right away on this, when you see the 4, it looks almost like a triangle. We do have RSI compression that helps support our case even more. So something like this. So hopefully you'll come out of this pretty soon. Does it have earnings coming up? What do you know? There may be a little earnings boost coming. I'm not telling you how to play earnings. Do what's best for you. I can be wrong, but hey, maybe that's going to help make this 5th wave. Now, if this triangle fails for some reason and we go below 21.99, then it's going to double correct. And the target would be like 1385. And I don't know if I would call that a 4 anymore. We'd have to label this. We may even have to consider this a huge flat. So the key level to watch is this pivot right here, right there. As long as you're above it, everything should be okay. Once you breach that, it could have an epic meltdown. An epic meltdown. So if you go into earnings below this level, I would be really careful. If you're above the level, it's still okay, but what if you gap down below it on earnings? So earnings is going to be a real roll of the dice unless you can buy it here and build some cushion and you go into earnings a little bit, a little higher to give you just a little bit of, in case it wore the rug pull. Real tough setup. Only as of now, it's okay. But if you break this low, I think it really it muddies the waters, but I do think it opens up perhaps substantial downside. That's your first box. If it's a flat, it would come all the way back down to these lows. As unbelievable as that sounds. YNN, well, we don't want to buy China just yet. We're waiting. Got some bearish moves that need to happen in China. But we do have a box here. We're pulling back on this connector. We have a lower low. So we should go a little lower, and that's what we expect. So we're looking for 38.21. And again, just kind of tracing the waves out. So something like that. Something like that. Okay. That's kind of the way China looks. Now, could it be finished? That would surprise me. I would be surprised if that's the case. We can take a look at how it's doing today. So what's interesting is see how we took that high out. So that's new information. So that messes up this idea of the triangle. Okay. So what is it now? So we have to take another look at it. So I'll try to update this on real time and see if we can update this. So we probably go back and put the B here. And looking at it, we'll just have to, first, is it a B or a WXY? It's a B. So we'll need 5 waves down. So it's got to be something like this then. 1, 2. And then that could be 1, 2 here. Or we're still in 2. So we're either still in 2 and we go a little higher, or it's 1, 2, 1, 2. And it's done. So YNN will kind of mirror that view. So YNN would maybe go a little higher and then capitulate, or it could be in its own 1-2-1-2. So it has a couple paths. All right, and then DXYZ, that was one I did for morning update. I haven't looked at it since. I warned people about it reversing in that box, and it did. Even though many people disliked the video and hate it when I said that. Because I think there's a lot of people out there that actually don't want my information to go out to you. Because they were short in, and I was telling you the answers to the test. So now you have this count. Now see, it's moving in a three-wave move, so we can kill that. So more than likely we're moving in a W here, our first W, right? And then we'll get something like that. So this should break down soon, if this is a triangle. I mean, it looks like a triangle to me. That's finishing up, so. And then you'll have another big rally, and then that would fail for the final low. All right. All right, guys, WGMI. Another one, and again, all these charts look the same. I haven't done this, but I have a feeling it's going to be a dip and a rip. Let's take a look. Big picture. Probably either a 3 and a 4 here, but it's too deep for a 4, so it's probably a 1-2-1-2 count. Just kind of looking, making sure we're not moving in 3 waves. I think we'll just assume it's moving in 3 waves for now. So really it's like that, but like a run-in flat connector here. It doesn't really matter. Obviously it's correct in this whole thing. Although it isn't, because we haven't broke that cycle yet. So it's only correct in the the Y leg. So there is a possibility that can keep extending. So if it's correct in the whole thing, we'll get more downside. That's a connector wave. Here's what I think is going to happen. There's not a lot of data here to go with, but I think you're going to get something like this, right? And to finish that wave, you need a dip, like I keep saying, dip and a rip. So you have a dip. There's your dip. Down here, 34 or something, and guess what? It rips, and then it crashes, right? You get this A, B, C, and that would complete the view. Right, and then that would be a W, X, Y. So I think something like that. Right, and then the next question here is Bitcoin triangle for this current range, wave 4 or XRP. I'm not really sure what your question you're asking for Starmy. For Starmy, all I can tell you is there's a triangle here. At least there was, it still is, yeah, it's still valid. Still valid. There is a triangle as of now. Now I don't know current range, wave 4 or XRP shake. Like I said, I think if you're asking about XRP, I'll look at that real quick for you. We haven't looked at it in a while. But basically crypto is pretty easy. If any of these altcoins break the flash crash lows, they're done for technically on the chart. They may be okay, I mean fundamentally, but the technicals would be the massive amount of damage. Okay, so that's the unfortunate thing. Now I haven't looked at XRP in a while, so you're way above. Look, you're way above it, so that's good. So you had a bounce here, but it failed, so it's double correcting too. So where's the next area to buy it? Where's the next area? See if we can find it. 141. So there's your next box. So XRP is likely to go lower into the box. Okay. Now what if it bounces now? Well, then it's likely to change the structure, right? So there's maybe you get another little pop here, but it's likely to fail. Now, if it can come out of it, great. Now, we did a risk divergence on this push lower. So there is a small chance, and again I could put this out WXYXZ. So there is a possibility 2 is done here. Wouldn't that be something? It won't be such a shit coin after all. It would lead the market out of a correction. So or it does wait there's another, or it can do this. So XRP has too many possible paths to even. But the chart supports something like this. Maybe the low's in, or it does a bigger bounce and crash. I bet that's what you're going to get out of it, something like that. But the most important thing is it's got to hold that low. Okay, but I have a feeling it's going to do something like this. Okay, and then I would worry about another pullback before more upside. So that's XRP. Because it erased divergence on that low. All right, and then what's the next one? SNDK. Yeah, that one's been talked about a lot, been pumped. Big pump. So no triangle here. It's just maybe we do something like this. Something like that. Again, we're looking for one more high. Now we can't rule out an extension. We can't rule out an extension, of course. Now that could be another one too. It likely is. So I won't label that part, but you get the idea. It should continue higher. If for some reason it double corrects, it would be a buy, and it would be still wave 4. How long did this wave 2 take? Let's see. About a month or so. So it's corrected long enough. So yeah, it's probably making this 5th wave. Link. Yeah, Chainlink is a tricky chart. That's one of those ones is, you know, I can look at it from a bearish or bullish point of view depending on my own personal bias, and it's hard to, you know, I'm always generally bullish on it, but there is definitely a bearish interpretation of this chart. Let me see which one I have labeled. I was playing around with it. So I have, going all the way back, we actually had a buy here a long time ago. And again, I put this on X and some idiot was telling me how stupid I was. And I laugh. But here it is. It was a buy here. 5 waves up, 3 down. Now here's the problem I have. You only have 3 up. So you have to be, again, intellectually honest and say, is this corrective or is it bullish? It's not 5 waves. So it has to be either a 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, which means this thing is going to go vertical, like straight up, you know, vertical. And the correction, by the way, is already ended, right? If you look at this count, you have 5 waves up. I mean, it's ready to go vertical. It's either ready to go vertical, or ready to go vertical. And I don't know why it would do that. Or it's a corrective structure. And if it's corrective, it's a whole different way of looking at it. This would be W, X, Y, and then this would be W, X, Y, right? And then this would be W, X. So we get X. So maybe we come back up to 16, 17, and then we collapse. And we break likely these lows and come down here. So which one is it? I don't know. It's in the eye of the beholder. It's like it's in whoever, you know. So I think it seems likely we're going to get another swing higher. But then after that, who knows? After that, it's either going to crash, have a spectacular crash, or it's going to fool everyone. And then this wave doesn't stop. So I think we'll know. I think as it comes out, I think it's likely to bounce here. I mean, seeing it green, I think it's likely to bounce here because you have 5 up. So it needs to complete the sequence. We saw that in Zcash, and I showed that in Zcash. And again, people disliked and hated when I said that. I showed this update on the morning update, and sure enough, it played out. But the question is, can it keep going? And I don't think. See, this is a tough thing. So I think with Linkcoin, if it lines up with the rest of crypto, right, we would expect it to go down with the ship. Why would we think it would go up considerably? So maybe this is the view we need to go with as our primary view. So something like this. So we're going to go with this as our primary view. But we don't. There's you know, there's always that chance. And then this would be an ABC here. And then and again, how I label this is up to my view. If my bearish bias, I would do this. If this was bearish, I would just go W, X, Y, and then this was an A, B, C. If I'm a bullish bias, I won't do that. I would have it labeled somewhat a different way. So that's why I don't really talk about this too much anymore, because I just thought there's too much conflicting information. So I guess we'll do this, and we probably need to put the question mark back on. This one I need to put the question mark back on. So I don't know. So we'll all find out together what's going to happen. But I think it should bounce, right? I think it should bounce at least. Should get a bounce. Okay. All right. BHP on the ASX. Let's take a look at that. So because we have the higher high, we got to call that 2 in. Again, I'm not sure why. Well, again, TradingView always messing up my charts here. Not sure what's going on. Let's go back and look at the bigger picture. There. Yeah, it's really annoying that happens. So something like this. I'm not sure what's going on here. Yeah, so that's the bottom. So it's coming off of the bottom here. What does BHP do? Mineral. Oh yes, yeah, that's why. So could it be a flat? It can always be a flat. I think we should just label what's in front of us, and that's what's in front of you. So something like that. If it's a flat, great. It gives you an opportunity to buy it again. I thought we'd go a little deeper, but it doesn't look like the market's going to do it. We do see stocks like Cleveland-Cliffs ready to break out. We are seeing some other stocks like that, Freeport-McMoRan, you know. So these may be ready to just take the baton from the commodity and just start to run a little bit. Let's see on the RSI. Yeah, so could even still be in this wave too. But the higher high is huge, because that sets you up for that kind of tells me the bottom's in. All right, MSOS we covered earlier, and basically we know the cycle is over. This cycle's over, or bouncing, but I think we get another leg lower. It doesn't look complete to me, but I can't guarantee it. So it's a very tough chart to trade here. I want to call it finished, but I think my better judgment says expect a pop, you know, maybe up to 539 somewhere here, and then another leg lower to fill the gap. And that's what I'm thinking. I don't really recommend trading it here, but obviously the downtrend's over. This is over. So there's no more downtrend. It's in an uptrend now. So shorting it would be kind of foolish, because this X could just keep going and going and going, and then it may even be 2. So I would be only looking to buy it, but know that maybe put your stop at 432. And if it is breached, it's likely to fill the gap and come back down to retest these lows. Now, if we can create more space, obviously that raises the target. So it's kind of a personal choice you'll have to decide on. Indo really needs to get going on Monday, right? Indo needs to get going, because it only, like we just saw with Chainlink, only have 3. So since it's 3, there's no guarantee for them. It could be corrective. We need another high to show the trend is now higher. So we need this, and this is the sweet spot. It needs to turn. This needs to happen tomorrow. Okay, start to get moving. If we break down, and 2 can still go lower. Okay, don't get me wrong, but we'd like to see it get going if it's a real wave 3. Now, could it be a flat off of this peak and it's just miscounted? I mean, it doesn't look like it'd be off that much. It looks very much like 5 waves, so I don't think it's a flat. But anyway, the biggest pivot that needs to hold is obviously this one. So I think this is what we have to go with for now. And if we come back and breach this level here, then I would be worried it's corrective. And then if we breach this low, then it's absolutely going to melt down, because then you'll have a 3, and then you'll need another 3 waves down. So it tends to move with oil, with war talk more specifically. I'm not on X, as you know, tonight. I don't know what the latest Venezuela war chatter is. If oil is going to do this, that would be good for Indo, even for a short-term trade. But if oil is going to rug pull like this, you think it'd be bad for Indo. But remember, bigger picture, we do think oil will have a major run in the future. So, and if I'm wrong about this rug pull, if for some reason the major cycle is done here and we're starting the next swing higher, well, then Indo is going to be the trade of the year. So I don't know, right? It's too early. We don't have enough data. So what we do is we swing when we have a pitch. So we have a pitch here we want to swing at. It's worth taking a shot, right? It may not work out, but believe me, we won't give up on it. So we'll come back to it if it doesn't work out, because it is worth it. Because once you catch Indo on the energy, super cycle, if it, again, assuming it's still around, it's gonna go really high. So, but right now, we're just trying to play this out of this wedge that we've been keeping an eye on, and so far, it's been holding up okay. But I'd like to see it do something till Monday. All right. Okay, so do you think it's a triangle where your W starts? Let me go back to Bitcoin and take a look. Let me go back. Oh, here, this is a triangle. Well, I don't know. Let me see. Maybe. I'm always open to different ideas. Triangle would want to see it in 3s. So right here kind of violates the 5 waves. Because I see 5 waves. Now this is subdivided by 3, so you have 3 and then 3 and 3. So it kind of negates the triangle idea. So because it could have. Now if this was in 3 waves and we didn't have this little dip here, if it was like 3 and 3 and then we didn't do this dip, yeah, could have been this could have been a big triangle. But it doesn't really work for me. And it looks like Bitcoin's trying to negate this little triangle. Again, it's hard to label where this is. Now, if we negate this triangle, it's obviously going to pop, right? This is going to pop, and we're going to get something up to like 93,000. Okay? And it could start a squeeze where our short box is tagged, right? And do something really crazy and come back up. But I don't think so, again, because of the 5 here. Because of the 5. So if anything, it could do a pop up. It could pop up. But I'd be surprised if it came up that far. I still think it's got the idea with Bitcoin, I think, is the dip, rip, crash. I think that's what we're going to see. I don't think we're going to see crash. I think dip, rip, crash is kind of what's set up. And then we end up down here as our final lows. Okay. And these are also the lows that some of the biggest traders that trade Bitcoin, that use a completely different system than me, that have millions of dollars in Bitcoin, millions of dollars, that have traded every 4-year cycle, this guy. And this is the price level he called. And he has circled. It just coincidentally matches my level. 2 different systems coming together. That's why I think this is highly likely to be tagged, but it's going to take time to get here. It's going to take time sometime in 2026. Okay. Potential wave B as complex. I'd have to look at it more. I may not be following exactly everything you're asking, but I try. The problem, again, if I'm looking at this as a triangle, the problem is this 5 waves here. That's the problem I have. So anyway, okay. That's all I've got, guys, on our live stream. Let me just look through comments one more time to see if anybody else had any comments that I need to answer. And yeah, sorry about that screen, but you didn't miss anything. UVIX is the best way to trade UVIX. If you haven't listened to me, is wait for the cycle to end. So wait for a big day. It's up 30% or something, and then when it pulls back, buy it. You can't go wrong. You do that, you're going to win. You'll beat the market makers on UVIX. If you try to bottom fish UVIX, you're going to lose. Wait for a big day. You wake up and it's up 30, 40%. The market's selling off. And then it starts to pull back, as it always does. Buy the pullback. That's the way to trade the UVIX. It always worked for me. Sometimes you may stop out, but you lose very little typically that way. And you gain a lot. All right. I may have missed WGMI. Let me go back. I don't think I remember covering that. Oh, I did cover it. Okay. Rivian and Lucid look like the same chart. I remember doing Lucid. Well, guys, I think I covered everything. I really appreciate all your support. Everyone who's a member, thank you. It's been a great year. We started in February, and I didn't know if it was going to work out or how it would go, but it's been way more successful than I could have ever imagined. So I really appreciate everyone hanging in there. And if you're considering being a member, I believe it's valuable. I believe you learn something, and I hope you give me a try. It's only $5 a month. It's not that expensive to just try it out, test the waters. I know the people that did that and got silver in $30 are pretty freaking happy they bought the $5 service. If that gave them that idea they weren't thinking about, because believe me, when silver was in the 30s, no one was really talking about it, but a few people on the internet were talking about it. And now that's all I want to say. So good night, guys, and we'll see what happens tomorrow. Maybe we'll get the sell off will start tomorrow. Who knows? All right, guys. Good luck.